New weapons, new graphics, a vehicle and an overhaul to vehicle handling. There is a lot that's come to State of Decay 2 in Update 19. Today I'm going to go through the key things that you need to know that's come to the game in this patch, so let's jump straight into it. Hey everyone, Sam here, also known as Mr. Stainless, and if you're new to the channel, why not hit the subscribe button? I upload new State of Decay videos every week and it's a great way to stay informed. So today we're going to be taking a look at the highlights of patch 19. It is a massive patch with a lot of detail, so I'll leave timestamps down in the video description so you can find the bits of info you need, as well as a link to the full patch notes down there as well. With all that said though, let's jump in. One of the first big changes coming in Update 19 is the improvements to vehicle handling and performance in-game. So after updating your game, you should notice that your vehicles now have increased acceleration, better off-road performance, greater reverse power, which will be super useful in maps like Providence Ridge, and better terrain interaction when it comes to how the vehicles handle and grip different terrain. So now you should see some form of difference with your vehicle grip from when you're driving on the road, for example, compared to when you're driving in dirt. As part of this upgrade as well, we should find it harder for vehicles to get stuck on terrain when traversing the world, especially in Drucker County with the vast amount of balancing and overhaul that's been done in that map. And I know a lot of you will be happy to hear that, I know I am. But vehicles aren't the only thing being revised as part of Update 19. Shotguns are too, and should now more consistently and reliably deliver kills when you're targeting enemies within a 5-meter radius. If you're wanting to target enemies further away from that, you may now notice that shotguns will dismember and knock down enemies more frequently when targeting enemies up to 20 meters away. The noise that shotguns make has been dropped significantly as part of a balance on the weapon class, and should now make noise that is similar to that of a 5.56 chambered weapon. Equally as part of Update 19, the Drucker County map has received a huge graphical overhaul. The dev team will be visiting the other maps too, but honestly I wouldn't expect to see revamps of the other maps for some time. What they've done with Drucker County must have taken a lot of work and even more time with the amount of graphical and driving improvements made to the map, so definitely check it out next time you boot up a community, but I would recommend maybe holding off and being patient. They are going to redo the other maps as well, but it's going to take time. So with the big patch additions out of the way, let's talk about the content that's made its way into the game with this patch. First of all, the Wizard's Van is now out of rotation and has been replaced with the Bloodmobile, which is a spatial reskin of the ambulance to commemorate the collaboration between State of Decay and the Red Cross. Speaking of which, go give blood folks if you can. On top of this, we equally see the World War II pack return to the game with some massive additions. There will be 6 new guns added in the form of the ceremonial M1A1 Thompson, which will be a new submachine gun, the OSS Silent Knight, a suppressed revolver which looks really cool, the MP40 submachine gun, the FBI fighting rifle, which will be a high rate of fire close quarters assault rifle with a compensator attached, the Soviet PPSH-41 and the Danger Dog PPSH-41. And by the way, the vintage rifle compensator that is found on the FBI fighting rifle can be removed and added onto other weapons, but it can't be crafted. So if you want more of that compensator, you're going to have to buy multiple rifles from the bounty broker. There will also be 2 new melee weapons added with the antique German trench tool and the tank hammer, and we also have a few new outfit items being added as well, like the combat helmet. All of the previous World War II weapons will be added back into the game and can now be found ambiently through your game world. In August, the Go Bag pack will be brought back to the game and the Anniversary pack will be retired, so get working on those bounties if you haven't already. So let's jump into general tweaks and fixes to the game. If you boot up a new community in State of Decay, you will now notice that loot distribution has been slightly adjusted. Originally, a typical building included about 5 or 6 lootable containers, and more often than not, you ended up finding more loot than you could carry home, which can be super frustrating if you're trying to be out for an extended scavenging run. They've now altered this for host players only, so now most buildings offer either 4 or fewer containers, or 8 or more containers. There's still the same amount of loot spread throughout the map, but it's just going to be spread much more evenly. Equally, do be aware this change will only be brought into effect for new communities. Existing communities will not be affected by this update. We can now craft toolkits and advanced toolkits at the auto shop facility in your base, which now makes a lot more sense. It wasn't stated whether you can still craft them at the workshop, but I would assume so. When it comes to weapons, all revolvers are now quieter, with the .44 Magnum revolver being the loudest by a slight margin. The developers had noticed that the .357 revolvers were louder than the Magnums, so that has been rectified. Equally, weapon sway has now been realigned to match with barrel length, so you should now start to notice more stability from the likes of 50 cal weapons and long barreled revolvers that we may have had up to this point. There were quite a few balancing tweaks too, but the most noticeable, which I think a few people have been talking about, is the major nerf that's come to the pyro launcher. The launcher is still going to be pretty useful when fighting against zombies, but its effectiveness against plague hearts has been greatly reduced, as it was super easy just to blitz plague hearts with the launcher basically. Update 19 is a massive patch, and I'll leave a link to the full notes down in the video description if you want to go read them, but if you've enjoyed today's video, why not subscribe? I've got weapon and vehicle showcases on the way, and it's the best way to know when my videos go live. But until next time, have a great week, and I'll speak to you all very soon.